afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of the Dr. Perkins podcast. So today the critical thinking question is, you have a pair of identical twins. Bob has type 1 diabetes and the other, Frank, does not have type 1 diabetes. They both weigh 100 kilograms. Bob needs to take 75 units of insulin per day via artificial pancreas, but Frank's body only makes 35 units of insulin per day. Bob complains that he just doesn't understand why he needs more insulin to control his blood sugar than Frank's body even makes. Can you help him? So pause for thinking. Alright, welcome back guys. Let's see how you did. But before I get started, let me just thank the wonderful people that made these great pictures. So these pictures are found on Wikipedia's Creative Commons. And this one is of the circulatory system and respiratory system, and this was done by basically OpenStats College. Alright, now this one right here is pro-insulin, and this was done by Mr. Hyde. Okay, so what happens in the normal system? Somebody without type 1 diabetes. So what happens is your pancreas over here produces insulin, and 50 to 60% of all the insulin made by that pancreas gets destroyed by the time it hits the hepatic vein. All right. Now, between the blood being gone out to the heart, getting mixed with the blood from the upper body and mixed in the lungs, by the time it gets over here, the body only sees about the 1 unit of insulin for every 3 units of insulin that the liver sees. So I'm making up numbers here for the sake of argument, but if we had 1 unit per liter of blood, we got 3 units per liter of blood over here that's working on the liver. Now you notice the liver also sees the same level of insulin in the hepatic artery. And so between these two, the liver is seeing a lot of insulin right here. Now, most of the blood flow in the liver is coming from here, the hepatic portal vein. All right, and so this is going to be very important. Now, in addition to that, is when our body makes insulin, we actually produce proinsulin. So it's all this stuff right here, and then you see this thing in gray gets chopped off, and that's called C-Peptide. And so that is what's happening in a normal non-type 1 diabetic individual. So what's happening in somebody with type 1 diabetes? Well, what happens is the insulin isn't coming from here. Why? Your type 1 diabetes has destroyed your pancreas, and so pretty much you're producing very little insulin. For the sake of argument, we're just going to pretend it's not producing any. Anyways, you're getting a shot, right? You may get it in your leg, your abdomen, and so if you're getting it right here, it's draining and going and mixing with all the blood from the body, and so you're seeing the same level of insulin in your arms and your legs as you are in your liver. And so the liver wasn't designed to work off such low levels of insulin. Now, one of the things that's really important here is how much of your sugar does the liver usually handle? Well, one of the things is about 1/3 of all the sugar in your meal ends up in your liver, right? And so your liver's squirreling it away for a rainy day. But as said, your liver was meant to work on 2 to 3 times the level of insulin. So 1/3 of your insulin metabolism, is messed up already, right? Or for another way, 1/3 of all your glucose metabolism is messed up. Why? Because we're not getting enough insulin over here, right? And so your liver, in a sense, has hypoinsulinemia if you have type 1 diabetes, because the amount of insulin you're being exposed to is the same level of insulin in the rest of your body, which is way too low, right? It should be about 2 to 3 times higher over here, right? Now, another thing that happens is you notice the one twin was talking about how he's getting about 75 units of insulin per day, right? And so what's happening is the whole body is getting too much insulin right here, right? So he's getting too much insulin, he's getting too much insulin, he's getting too much insulin, right? Why? Because the liver isn't getting enough insulin through this route right there. And so this is why you're starting to get some peripheral insulin resistance. Now, for the longest time, it was taught this C-peptide is just garbage. The whole reason why we're producing that is because we want to have these two chains kind of run parallel to each other, and so that's why we had the C-peptide, was just a scaffold. We really don't need this for sugar control. Well, not so much. One of the things they found is when they use the C-peptide, type 1 diabetics actually achieved a lot better insulin control when they got C-peptide. And so that made a major difference in terms of insulin control, blood sugar control and stuff. And then the third thing I want to point out with the type 1 diabetics is they're actually studying, instead of giving insulin here, they're trying intraperitoneal. And so what's going to happen is it's going to mimic that normal pancreas a lot more. And so the insulin's going to go through here, and so we can give you a lot higher dose of insulin for your liver compared to the rest of your body. And they're finding out that that is a lot better in terms of blood sugar control. It stops the highs and the lows when we give it through the liver. We use the intraperitoneal dosing because once again the insulin's going through the liver instead of over here where the insulin is skipping the liver and hitting the rest of the body. So anyways, well, I hope that helps. Alright, that concludes today's episode. If you liked what you heard, be sure to click the subscribe and like button down below. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if there's any particular topic you'd like me to create a video on, let me know in the comments down below. Alright, well, I look forward to seeing you on my next podcast.